Hey newbies, and not newbies, you know. Today's show is going to be about obviously basic witchery, new people new to their craft, people who aren't new to the craft that want to kind of refresh. Um, today's show was basically started because I've had a lot of people come to us and say that we are not good for new witches, that we're mean, we're judgmental, or all these things that basically we can't teach new witches because of how supposedly harsh we are. And when you tell me that I can't do something, I'm gonna show you up. I don't like that. It's irritating. Um, and I don't think that we are bad for new practitioners. I mean, we've all been new practitioners, and we've all had to start somewhere, so we know what it's like. We've gotten here for a reason. We started somewhere, and anyways, that's what this show is going to be about. Life is going to talk to you about some other things.
Yes. Also, if we can't get into great details today on some of the things, they are going to be in our book, which I'm sure we will talk about later. Also, so we are still doing our giveaway for the custom puppets from Mrs. Oddly, and once we get the 500 subscribers, then we will pick a winner from the comments. So you have to subscribe and you have to make some sort of comment, not on every video, but you have to do some kind of interaction with us. And this is Vera, and she is a no fear Oddly, and I love her. She's got bells in her hair. I don't know if you can hear it, but she's
All their
fantastic. And
bells.
she came with this little key with her. I haven't opened the scroll yet, but yeah, I love the bells in her hair. It's very, very gypsy, which is one of the reasons why I wanted her. And okay, so when people are new, one of the first things that they do is they try to seek out other practitioners to find somebody that they have something in common with, somebody maybe that they can learn from. And one of the things that I have seen in groups, have it be either on Facebook or YouTube or even local groups, because I have joined a couple of local groups with some things, you have people that try to stifle you or even distract you during a discussion. And leaders in our community should not be doing that. They should not be stifling people or trying to stay away from discussion. And some of them can get really, really defensive when they are told that they are not putting out, truthful information, and that's also not right, because we all learn from each other. Teachers learn from their students, and that's really how it needs to be. And also, if you are in a group of people where the leader is actually making fun of somebody for being able to do something that they are not able to do themselves, then you need to get out of that group, like big time, because that's not a place for you. These leaders are supposed to encourage us and nurture us, not make fun of us because they don't know how to do something that we've learned how to do. So in our own group, we don't really have a whole lot of rules in our group. The Deviant Witchery group, it's basically don't be an asshole, don't advertise, and don't be hateful. Everything else kind of goes. I know recently somebody had posted something about newbies, and it was actually started a good discussion within the group, and everybody kind of put in their 2 cents of how it was like when they were new and different things that they thought or people told them when they were new, and it was really good. And then somebody got really pissed off and was like, there are other groups that won't, where the admins won't allow this to happen, and I suggest that all newbies leave this group and find those other groups. And I was like, dude, we don't do that. We're actually having a good discussion, and nobody's being hateful, because I was actually contributing. So, yeah, we don't do that. And a lot of people actually thanked me in that post and said thank you, because we do feel comfortable actually being able to speak here. So that is very important to our members as well.
Yeah, I think it's really important for people to be able to express themselves, even if they want to bitch at you or challenge you. They should feel free to be able to do that without feeling like they're either stupid or just reprimanding them. It's. But I will say, like, I was part of a local group for a while, and it was on psychic training. And the leader of that group was at first very, very nice, awesome. I had a lot to learn from this person, but the more that I started with this group, started practicing with this group, um, the more I started seeing that this person actually really didn't know much. They knew their craft, they knew how to do the work they do, but they weren't really good at teaching. Every time that they said something, I found myself or another student explaining how to do something to the rest of the class. And that should really be the responsibility of the teacher. But it came to the point where this teacher went really crazy, and because I chose to leave, I chose to leave that group because I was not benefiting from it. They thought I was possessed.
You might
Seriously,
be.
sometimes I am. Sometimes I am. It's all good.
Oh, that is very true. Yes.
But they really thought I was possessed because I didn't want to pay them for something I didn't need from them.
Mm-hmm.
And so this person sat the group down and asked them, should we go and try and exorcise him? Like, should we do an intervention? Because I decided that I didn't want to waste my time. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not possessed today. Maybe tomorrow. But you don't have the right to do that. And I think that's important for people to understand. Like, if you feel uncomfortable somewhere, leave. Just follow that gut instinct. I did,
Yeah.
and obviously for good reason. I don't want to be connected to people who think that I need to be exercised on a daily basis because I don't want to give them my money.
And our leaders are not here to question our beliefs. Different people do different things, see different things. If somebody came up to me with some crazy off the wall craziness, I mean, I would try better to understand it, but I wouldn't just sit there and make fun of them and be like, all right, you need help. I'd actually try to understand where they were coming from. But that's not everybody's like that, so what can you do? So, do you have anything else to say? I'm going to ask you a question.
um, it's true. I've also had people come to me with crazy, crazy shit, and my initial thought process was, "You're fucked. You're wrong in the head. There's something really wrong with you." And then I have to really think about some of the stuff that I've been through. Some of this crazy stuff that I've been through. When you talk to other people, it's really hard to believe some of the stuff, even though you are a practitioner. Sometimes it's like, "Oh no, you're messed up in the head." But we have to really detach from that and start listening to what they have to say before we actually judge them to their face. Reserve that judgment until you actually get to know what they're saying, because they might have a specific way of interpreting things. The way they come across might be silly to you, but to them it's important. Just like for me, like if I say something, someone might think I need help. I might need to go see a psychologist or a doctor because I'm seeing spirits or talking to spirits. But I know myself. I know I don't need that. If I did, I would definitely be open to that, but I don't. I know my practice, and I think that people need to really be more open to the fact that just because it sounds crazy doesn't always mean that it is.
Yeah.
We need to take a step back and say, okay, for me, this is how I would interpret it, but what are they really going through? What are they experiencing? Because it's not fair for us to place that judgment on someone when we don't really know the full story.
Yeah, and not only that, some of this stuff, though, that is somebody thinks that you're crazy for is basic shit that everybody should be doing anyway. People that are not educated in their craft should not be teaching other people. It's just basic of what I was trying to say. So I have a question. Are witches made or are witches born?
The easy answer for me is witches are born. But I think it's a blend. I think witches can be made, but at the same time, if they are made, if they decide to follow that path and it's really something that's strong within them, then technically they were born that way. You know? I was having a discussion on my Facebook, my personal profile, and someone said something that no matter what path that they chose, they still have that spiritual connection. They still speak to spirits. They still have that magic. And they could be, Christian, they could be anything else, but that essence followed them throughout, and they've always honored that. And that's rung true for me too. Like I've always had this experience, this I guess energy, essence, whatever you want to call it. And even for a moment, I tried to be Christian. I really did for my parents because when I was younger, I was just like, I didn't want to disappoint them. So I tried to be Christian. But I found even in Christianity, I started bringing magic to it. I started using the Psalms for magic. I started using the Bible for magic. So it's just something that I believe that a lot of people, if not all, who follow this path seriously, are born with. What about you? What do you think on that subject?
Um, I believe witches are born and then they're nurtured into being stronger witches. I believe that the call comes if you're meant to it just comes up. It's because I was drawn to it and then I was scared of it as a teenager, and then I was drawn to it, and then I was kind of stifled in it within my relationship, and then I was drawn to it and just fucking dove into it because at that point there was nothing else that you could do. And I do feel that it is something that you are born with, not necessarily all of the knowledge, but with
Right.
the want to learn and to practice. And some people do have more gifts than others, and it's like anything else, you practice it and you get better. It's just like playing a musical instrument, except you can make shit happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of the issue is with people saying people who are born this way, the other people who think that they aren't born this way, or they feel like those of us who choose or who say that are judging them or think we're better than them, and or we're more apt for things because of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's the truth. Some people, there's assholes all over. So people who think they're born witches think that they're fucking awesome and they're better, but that's not the case for everyone. That's really
Mm-hmm.
not. I think that's where the challenge comes in, because a lot of people think that if someone claims to be born that way, they're automatically this arrogant piece of shit that looks down on others who were made.
I think those people that look down on others are the ones that don't know what the hell that they're doing, and they have to have, that's like the guy with the little dick getting a big car. They have to show off because they don't
Penis
have
envy.
anything. Yeah, it's like they don't have anything, so they have to show off and have that's my belief on it. Usually those people don't have anything. I do see I could see hereditary passed down, throughout the lines, and I don't think it's any better necessarily than
No.
anything else. It's just different, and that's
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely. I've seen hereditary witches who really don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Oh.
I've seen people who claim to be made or chose to be this way, who are amazing at what they do, who know more, who practice more than this person who claimed to be hereditary. And I think that people need to understand that just because you're born this way, just because you're hereditary, doesn't mean that you don't practice, that you don't have to do the work. It doesn't mean that you get a pass go. You don't have that option. Witchcraft is still something that you have to practice. It's something that you put
Mm.
into motion. Um, it's not something that you just whatever lay around and you're a witch and you can do whatever you want. It's not that. You have to do the work.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
definitely.
it's yeah, it's. I could go so much into the subject, but I really shouldn't because that's going to take too much. Um, I know a huge issue with newbies, and I'll say it again: newbies, neophytes, people new to the craft. Uh, um, they get overwhelmed, and they don't know where to start. They think that they have to know everything. They think they have to do runes. They think they have to do tarot cards. They think they have to do crystals. They think that witchcraft encompasses every little thing. And that's really not true. Like, if you're a witch and you want to do divination, choose something to start with. You don't have to know everything, but it's so easy for people to get overwhelmed because of the eclectic nature that people try to impose on the craft. Because they say you can take and do from whatever and just blend it and do whatever you want. And I think that is a hard thing for new practitioners to deal with because they don't know where to start.
No, I agree. I've been there, been overwhelmed, and that's when you need to make your list and just research the hell out of whatever it is and go down the list. I do think that every witch should have some form of divination. It doesn't have to be tarot. It could be a pendulum. It could be, I don't even know them all. It could be anything, but I do think that everybody at least needs to learn some kind of form of divination.
Well, I think basic psychic development is important and necessary for a witch. You know, we are in tune with nature. We are in tune with ourselves. We should be. We communicate with spirits or energies. You know, when we practice, we're communicating with that process. We're communicating with that process.
And by spirits, we mean spirits of crystals, spirits of herbs, alive or dead, people, spirits of places. You can have a spirit of places too, and fairies. I think fairies are not necessarily spirits, but they are a part of nature and things that you need to connect with.
Yeah. And I mean, everything is energy, you know, so that herb has an energetic expression. So who's to say that's a spirit to me? You know, there's a spirit governing that specific herb. And you might not believe that. I believe it, but you can at least honor that it does have some sort of energy. Because it's not just, it doesn't lack energy, it has to have energy. Everything does.
Yeah. Or it wouldn't work.
Yeah, as a witch, we connect with that. Whether you believe it is a spirit or not, we connect with that. We learn from that energy, which will assist us in, you know, our craft.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't. I was looking back last night on stuff I started with, like Scott Cunningham, which bores the hell out of me. That, I'm serious. I honor him for the work he does, but I cannot read him without falling asleep. That's why that's why I really like his herb books and his crystal book, because I can look something up, and that's easy. But having to read him,
I think I have his crystal book. It's that blue one, right? The crystals
purple,
and metals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like that one. I felt it was very lacking, and there's no. He's the one. I'm so bad. He's the one that wrote Living Wicca, I believe.
Yes. Wait.
I read that forever ago, and then that was kind of what started me, and then I just moved from there. I've never really read some of those beginning authors, probably because they bored the hell out of me.
He's boring. He's very dry, like the dry eye commercial. That's how, when I read him, that's how I interpret it. So it's so hard for me to connect with that. But I was going through it, and I did not realize how much he contradicts himself. Like, in one page, he'll say, you need to do your research. You can't substitute. It's weak. It won't work. And then in the later chapter, he's like, oh, here are the substitutions. If you don't have it, substitute it with this. Make up your fucking mind. Like, I guess I didn't really read it fully through. I just kind of did what I felt, called to. But damn, it's just that was like a workout, just a mind workout from reading all that shit, going from here to here to here, back here, and it's confusing. But a lot of people say start with him because he's easy to understand. If you want to, go ahead. That's fine. But no, I don't. I can't. I can't suggest him just by himself, at least. Uh, we have a question.
Okay.
Um, Someone saying that they're a newbie. What do you suggest to begin with?
Oh, the very first
Oh,
thing that you need to do is ground. Learn how to ground and learn how to cleanse and learn how to protect yourself. Those are my three big ones. The
yeah.
very, very, very first ones.
Um, I think grounding is very important. I think I've shared this in a few groups, but the way I ground, the way I was taught in psychic training was to basically take a few deep breaths and focus your awareness like at the center of the earth, like down deep into the earth, and then put
Mm-hmm.
a tube, which is I don't know, a tube at your root chakra, and anchor it deep into the center of the earth, and then grow that tube to fit your hips. So you basically have this big old tube from you to the center of the earth, and then program it. Say program it to take all the shit that doesn't benefit you and send it
Mm-hmm.
to the center of the earth. And then when that's done, bring up energy from the center of the earth that's going to replace that energy, but to uplift you, to restore you. And some people freak out, like, I don't want to send my negative energy to Gaia. I don't want to send my negative energy to, to the center of the earth. But you know what? She benefits from it. She can take that
Mm-hmm.
energy and make use of it. So you're not like tainting the earth. You're not tainting anything. I've really never heard that until recently. A lot of people think that, and I'm like, that's weird.
Actually, actually, about a year last year, at the UU church, I helped teach a little bit class on paganism to the teenagers, and I was asked to lead a grounding exercise. And one of the teachers, just a regular adult, thought the same thing. Like, wouldn't that hurt the earth? No, the earth can handle it and neutralize it and turn it
Right.
into something good. So you really, I think it's dangerous to send some people send stuff into the outer space, and I think that's more dangerous because if it doesn't get to where it needs to go, it can like disperse and hit other people. So I really do, and we're closer to the earth anyway, so it makes more sense. So I do really think that you just need to send your stuff down, and just touching the earth with your bare feet helps a lot too.
Yeah, one thing that I think is it's hard. I think that people should not ground with food. I mean, not a lot, because if you start grounding with food more and more and you don't use anything else, then you're gonna like balloon out. You're gonna get heavy. You're gonna feel lethargic. It's just it's not a good thing to solely do. Don't make that your primary grounding, because then you're gonna start associating all these things with food, and every time you eat food, you're gonna feel just like you're grounded, obviously, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it's a good thing to focus on. Maybe for
Unless
your
you want an eating
rituals,
disorder.
yeah. Very true. Um, like when you're doing your Sabbats, when you're doing like big rituals, if you use food to ground, that's cool. That's
Mm-hmm.
special. I think that grounding with food should be something that's sacred, something special, not something that should be done every day. Especially if you're grounding with cupcakes and brownies. Not good.
Yeah, try to ground with healthy root vegetables. We talked about this a
Oh,
little
yeah,
bit.
yeah.
Yeah, like I would say definitely carrots and potatoes and anything that grows into the ground because it has that connection with the ground will help you to ground.
Beet juice. You can drink beet juice. Oh, careful. It will turn your piss red. Uh, happens. So I ground with crystals. You can ground with crystals. I like using black tourmaline to ground, really
Mm-hmm.
focus. Even red jasper I use to ground. Um, there's so many different ways. Have fun with it, and you can ground. You don't have to always ground to earth. If there's an element that you feel very called to, like very drawn to, you could ground in that element. that's something semi-new to me because I've always just grounded with earth because that's how I feel comfortable with. But you can ground in different elements.
And I don't want to hear anybody say that they don't have any time or concentration. I'm sure everybody showers. You can ground
No.
in the shower. The water is a great. I'm being serious though. The water is a great cleanser, and I don't know. Well, I'm a single mom, so my kids run into they always have to go to the bathroom when I'm in the shower, but you can do it just for a couple minutes while you're in the shower. You're just visualizing basically all the crap running off of you and going down the drain. That is a really big thing too. And you can do that every time you shower. You don't have to just do that for special occasions. And when you you need to ground, when you feel like you're just like crazy out of sorts, some people just get like frantic or your anxiety is out of control. That's when the first thing you need to do is ground, and it really does help.
Right. Absolutely. So
And we
grounding is
talked
very
about
important.
cleansing and protection in previous videos, actually, so I don't think we should go too much detail here.
No, that's. I mean, cleansing can be as easy as getting. Ooh, I have this body scrub that Scarlett made. Scarlett's
Mm-hmm.
Cauldron. Oh, it's so good. I love coffee. I don't drink coffee, but I'm thinking about doing it again. But she puts coffee. Yeah, my mind goes off in different places. But she makes an amazing scrub, and I'm just, rub it up, dub, scrub it all, get
Hey,
rid of all.
I make a scrub too. It's not very hard to do actually if you want to make your own.
No,
Not saying
I'm
hers isn't
lazy.
awesome. Oh, I should probably try. I should try it now just to see. Maybe it is more awesome than mine.
It is awesome. No, I love body scrubs. I don't know why. I just love them. I love the sugar scrubs. I love salt scrubs, but I love sugar scrubs more. But you
Mhm.
can use that and program that to while you're in the shower, just get rid of the junk. Good stuff. Another thing I think a newbie should start with is basic psychic development, which also includes, grounding, protecting. You need to learn to connect with your own energies, like go within, do personal work, understand more about who you are, what makes you tick, what pisses you off. Um, but you don't have to be like the best damn psychic out there, but you should know how to do basic psychic work. Um,
Yes.
just tuning in to different things, like when you're doing a spell, like if you have a crystal, get that crystal, feel it, put it to your heart if you want, put it to your third eye if you want, put it wherever. um, but tune into that, get a feel for that crystal. If you can't tell me that you don't feel anything, because you will feel something. You might expect to feel a certain way, but throw expectations out the window, throw them out. That's Don't expect anything. Just feel it. Feel the process. So
Mm-hmm.
get that crystal, put it to your heart, put it wherever. Tune in with it. Ask it questions. See what comes up. It might be a feeling. It might be a thought. It might just be something that's automatically downloaded. Um, Words might come to you. It just tune into them. That's what I mean by connecting. Like that's part of psychic development. Just connect with it and start trusting those instincts. Write it down. Get a journal. Write it down.
I think it's very hard for some people to trust their instincts and their intuition, especially when you run into people that see things and hear things and maybe you don't. I started off with like a knowing, like I just kind of know things, and through developing more so with tarot. Now when I do tarot, I can actually hear I don't know where it comes from, but I can actually hear things
The
that are
boogeyman.
relevant to the reading. It's not just random voices. That's actually relevant to the reading and its information that is coming from somewhere. But I think as you start with your knowing, if that's what you have, and
Right.
work with it, and then you will be able to do it. Just kind of happens naturally. I don't know how else to explain it. I didn't
Well,
do anything to awaken anything. It just kind of started.
yeah, the more that you work with your craft, the more that you practice, the more that you start to open these channels,
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to become more sensitive, and whatever you feel stronger or you're linked stronger to is what will come about first. So if you're more of a visual person, more likely than not, you will start developing clairvoyance. You know, if you hear things
Mm.
better, if you're more in tune that way, that's how things are going to come to you. Just pay attention. It really is so simple, but people try to make it so complex. It's not hard. Just pay attention and be open to whatever comes to you. If you feel anger, write it down. Write what you feel, and get to know like when you're in any situation. If you feel a specific emotion arising, write it down. Make note of that situation, and that can help you later on. The more you get to know your own emotions, the better your practice will be. And just
Yeah.
like you said with your tarot readings, mine started out like really shitty. You know, like not shitty, but just very monotone. But the more I practiced, the more I developed, I got more information. So now when I shuffle the deck, I open up and I pay attention to what's coming to me. I will get automatic information. I will get visions. I will see stuff like in my inner eye. I will see like pictures. Sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes I will get an audible. I will hear. Uh, Not all the time, but I think that's because I have this weird thing about hearing spirits. I don't know if I could handle that.
See, I don't like seeing
Eventually,
things. We're like the opposite of that. I don't like seeing things, and I think that's kind of shut down on me. So I mean, I have seen things, but
right,
it's kind of like, so it doesn't happen to me very often.
right, and I think that's important for people to understand. It's like if you're afraid of something, most likely that's going to be a very hard way for it to develop. So if you really want to develop like your sight, you're scared to hell about seeing spirits, you're hurting yourself because you're making it so much harder to see things. It's really about doing that inner work, developing that. And okay, if you're scared of seeing something, why are you scared? Get to the core,
Yeah.
get to that foundation on why you fear it. Clear that, work through that, and then you'll start to notice that you'll start seeing stuff more.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, basic psychic development is one of my like must-haves when it comes to the craft.
What
We're
was
starting out.
what's that book? What's that book? We should give recommendations. What the where you
Just,
learn with the grounding tube thing?
oh,
She talks about it.
it's called You Are Psychic, and I believe her name is Deborah Lynn Katz. She has a book, You Are Psychic, and that basically was how I was taught. The crazy training place I went to, that's how I was taught. Um, and she also has Extraordinarily Psychic, which is another good book. But I would say if you want to learn basic stuff, start with that. You Are Psychic, Deborah Lynn Katz, good reference. And you can find basic shit online. Just use proper discernment. Not everything is going to be beneficial. And if you don't get something, don't get pissed off at yourself. Don't get frustrated. Just try a different technique. Or ask your spirit, why am I not getting this? And pay attention to what's coming to you. Uh, Another thing that is really beneficial when it comes to basic psychic work is to create, and I learned this from Sonia Choquette. Love her, she's so funny. But she says to create a psychic persona, so it helps to kind of override your ego, because ego will tell you you're fucked up, you're wrong, this is bullshit, this is crazy, none of this is right. Uh, so if you create this game, create a psychic persona, you can name this persona, dress it, it could be a different race, it could be like an alien, it doesn't matter. But you're putting this essence into this personality, and you're doing your psychic work through this personality. So it's a game. So you get more information that way. It's not like a challenge. It's not something that's going to be hard where you have to be right. It's just a game. If it's just a game, you don't have to be right. It's for fun. So that would be something that I would suggest for anyone to do is create a psychic persona. Name this person whatever, and do psychic work through that persona until you can get this foundation where you feel comfortable and trust in your instincts, and you have that confidence where you don't really need to override the ego because you trust yourself so much that you know when it is psychic information, when it's not.
Mm.
But yeah, basic psychic development. Um, let's see. We got and if you have questions, you can post them up here. I'm trying to go through different groups where I posted. If you wanted to know something, I'm trying to go through there, but just post them here, and I'll do my best. We'll do our best to answer them. Someone asked, basically, uh, is it possible to learn a trait that you weren't born knowing?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You don't. I mean, yeah. Go ahead. Do a little more expanding on that, please.
That's part of the being a mage witch and growing and learning new things. If you want to do something, then learn how to do it. Basically, as far as with psychic development, as you start to learn and practice and do, I don't think anybody's born with the knowing of how to read tarot cards or knowing how to do certain things. It's what you learn how to do. And I've actually asked this before. I was like, can I just learn how to do anything? I mean, in everything. Can I learn how to be telekinetic and set fire to things and like do different and
No.
I
No. No fire. You get no fire.
I do believe that you can do everything, but I think it would take a lot of work, and I don't know if anybody really has that amount of time or mental ability to do absolutely everything, but why not? I mean, it might take you a while, it might take you a couple of minutes, but yeah, I mean, just try it, do it.
Yeah. I mean, everything can be learned, really. Just you don't start out. Some people do start out, clairvoyant, but a lot of people don't. They block that shit out. I know I did.
Mm-hmm.
I blocked spirit communication out because when I was younger, I scared the shit out of me, and I didn't encounter like nice. I'm not gonna say they were mean spirits. I just didn't encounter spirits that looked like J Lo and Jason Momoa. If I did, hey. I encountered I encountered spirits more so that. Have you seen The Walking Dead?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, that's kind of more what I was seeing at a young age. So I blocked that shit out. That scared the shit out of me. Um, so people do block things out, and you can relearn these things. Just because you weren't born with, it doesn't mean that you can't develop it. But again, it goes with something I just said, where it might be harder for you to develop because of the fears and the thought patterns and the beliefs that you have, and then the surrounding group that you're in, like your friends, your circle of friends, they might place also limitations on you, which you have to go through.
Also, I do think, well, you talk about your circle of friends. As you hang out with more witches, I think I want to say it happens faster physically. Um, you start to, I don't want to say feed off of each other, but you start to
You do.
enhance each other's abilities. And we've done that just because we've known each other for so long. Sometimes, Michael, I
It's
read Michael's
bullshit.
mind, and it's very weird because it happens sometimes. You kind of it happens. It's been happening a lot more often, and we've worked together and with other people too. And when that happens, you form a connection with them, and we call it cycling sometimes when you have that connection with somebody. And if they're depressed, you can feel it, and if they're happy, you can feel it. There have been times where I've been at work and all of a sudden I have no contact with you guys at all, and all of a sudden I feel drunk and I feel giddy and happy.
It's not
And
me.
I'll go. This used to happen a lot more like last year. Oh, you don't have the big one today. And I'd get onto my phone, and everybody would be drinking, and I'm like, holy crap. It can happen. You need to be careful when that happens, more so when people get into a depressive state. You have to try to uplift them and help. I say help them, but let them deal with what they need to do. Maybe shield yourself from them a little bit because it's how you got to protect yourself. It's okay. And basically help them the best that you can, but let them deal with their own crap. Um,
Absolutely.
And it happens, and it's the weirdest thing because it's the first time it's ever happened long distantly with me, anyways. But yeah, and you
I
can
never,
do workings with other people in like the astral realm and stuff like that. That's not totally unheard of.
right. I never thought as a man I would ever have to cycle and feel that, you know? I don't have the equipment that, no. But I cycle. It happened a couple of
Sometimes he'll be like, "You're PMSing, aren't you?" Because I'm just like extra angry.
I'm like,
I'm
ink
just
chocolates. Have some chocolate, please. No, seriously though, it's so true. That's why I think when you're a witch, you need to be very cautious of the people you surround yourself with. Because you do cycle, you feel their emotions. And like us, we've done a lot of work together. And so
mm.
we're more in tune with each other. And there have been times you've said shit, I'm like, fuck, I was thinking that. Get out of my fucking head. Stop it. That's my head. Um, but you pick up on energies, you pick up on all these things. So a good foundation, grounding everything is necessary. But when you're so close to these people, it doesn't always work. I mean, you can kind of neutralize some things, but you still feel it. You still feel, their expression, their anything, because of how close you are. You don't have to let it rule you. And that's another important thing is some people think it's them. Like they're feeling depressed or they're feeling like this anger or they're feeling something and they think there's something wrong with them and really there's not. You just have to look. Sometimes it is you, which you have to be able to understand that. Sometimes it is you, but at the same time, you need to look at your circle of friends. You need to look at the people that you're surrounding yourself with, the people you're talking to, because it very well could be them.
Yeah.
And so you need to learn to detach from that. Like, where you are you and they are who they are, but don't take on their emotions as yourself. It's not you, it's them. It's confusing, kind of, but at the same time, it's very simple. Um, that's where proper discernment and that's where psychic development comes in because if you are in tune with who you are, you will be able to know and tell the difference, like what's coming from you, what you feel, versus what's coming from an outside source.
And I think usually sometimes if I feel that, not necessarily people I know, but if I'm in public, and all of a sudden I just feel really icky, and I'm just picking up on stuff and maybe not realizing it. As soon as I realize, I'll just be like sit there, and I don't know what it is. Maybe you're scanning yourself, whatever it is, and I'm just like, that's not my shit. And usually, as soon as I realize that it's not mine, I feel so much better. And then you can
Yes.
ground, and once you ground, then you shield, and then you just feel better.
Yeah, that's a perfect. I like that. I'm gonna start using that. Like if I go around like that's not my shit. That's not my shit. That's perfect, and it's a good affirmation. That, and saying it that way makes you feel empowered. It makes you feel strong. Like, bitch, that's not my shit. I cuss a lot
This
of
is not
people.
mine.
That's not mine. Yeah, fuck off.
It's basically how it feels, and it's usually in very, very big crowds, and there's just so much. And it's the empathy I want to touch on this very, very briefly. I believe everybody on the planet has empathy. People talk about, oh, they're an empath. Everybody's a freaking empath unless you're a sociopath and have absolutely no feelings. Different people are more sensitive, and those
Absolutely.
people that are highly sensitive need to learn how to shield it so it doesn't make them crazy. I was a dental assistant for about a year when I was 18, and I had this super bad anxiety. It was I can't even tell you how bad it was. It was bad. And after I quit that job, it slowly started getting better. All my health problems resolved themselves, and I realized now, it was actually a couple of years ago, that it wasn't my shit. It was because I was working in a dentist's office, and from the patients and their anxiety from coming into the dentist, it affected me so strongly.
Yeah, that really is one thing that pisses me off is people. Oh, I'm empathic. I'm amazing. I'm empathic. And I'm special. And you are special. Everyone is special in their own right, and no one should take that away from you. But we are all empathic. And I know someone, Adina, she is amazing at picking up feelings and stuff like that. So she takes it in, like, and there are people who are strong that way. Not everyone's like that, and that's cool. But we all have the ability to be empathic, and I think that's excuse me, that's one of the things that sort of manifests in newbies, because
I think that's one of the things that you're born with.
absolutely, yeah,
And then it gets, it freaks people out.
I think that it does freak people out. Someone just asked, how do you block others' emotions or spiritual emotions from bothering you throughout the day?
I think that goes really good with shielding. Christopher Penzak's book, The Witch's Shield, is very good. It talks about different ways to shield, and yeah. I lost my train of thought, sorry.
It's all good. That book is awesome for shielding. Let's see. It's hard for me to block others' emotions. Well, I don't like saying block. I like saying filtering them out, because when you block, it sometimes it feels like you can feel that hit. If you filter it, you allow it to flow through you, and you don't allow it to have power over you. And I think that's where proper discernment comes in. So when you know what's yours and what's not. When I was at a pagan festival, when I was in beauty school, that was forever ago. We skipped beauty school to go to a pagan festival, pagan pride or whatever, parade, whatever. But this witch was teaching this class on taking your power back. And I think this is important. This is something that you could do to kind of bring back your energy. She basically said throughout the day, you give your power away. People take it, you give it away, you place it in different spots. You need to claim that back. And so she said at the end of the day, or even whenever you just feel kind of lethargic, you feel whatever, just low vibrations, and you want your energy back, you know it's out there, stand firm, ground yourself, and basically in a very demanding and very commanding voice, just say, I demand and I command that all of my energy be returned to me now. She obviously yelled. She was like, I'm not going to yell because I'll laugh. But she was very firm. She yelled, and she was like, you bring that shit back to you. She's like, don't allow someone to have your energy. Bring it back. And you need to call it back with force. Because if you don't, you're like, oh, I want my energy back, please. Like, can I have it? I mean, if you really want it, but can I have it back? That shit's not going to work. You have to be, you have to have that strength. You have to command it back. Another thing that I do that I saw in psychic training as well is called a golden sun technique. And that's where, again, you ground yourself and you get this image, this visual of this golden sun. You place it above your head and you date it. You put the location that you're currently in the sun. You put your name. And then you program it to call back all of your energy, everything that you've sent out, have it attract, so that golden sun starts to get full. Once it's done, you basically crack it open, you put it over your crown, and you let it fill you. And it's like almost like honey, but a little not as thick. And it kind of fills you, and you're filled back with your essence. You're filled back with everything that you left. And that's another awesome technique. So once you get it all the way down to your feet, you kind of bend over, you tip your head over, and you allow the excess to go off, and you're full, you're done. Your energy is back within you, you're aligned. And that's another thing that you can do sort of to distance yourself from other people's emotions and to bring back yours.
Flora, she's gone by a couple different names. Charming Pixie Flora, Flora Peterson. I think she's Flora Sage right now. She has a technique that is very similar, where she calls it release and recall. So first thing you want to do is release all of the crap that is not yours, and imagine it just going back to where it came from, where it needs to go. Because people don't realize everything that we touch and everything that we keep in contact with, we pick up energy and we leave our energy there at the same time. So you want to first get rid of all the stuff that's not yours, and then recall all of your energy back She actually recommends doing this even twice a day, especially if you sleep next to somebody. You pick up their energy throughout the night while you're sleeping, so in the morning you could do it before you go off on your day. So I would check her. I don't know if she has anything formal on that. It was a video I saw a long time ago, so it would explain that better.
Yeah, and I think like I guess I use black tourmaline for a lot of things. I would probably use black tourmaline, smoky quartz, and possibly like a like with chrysocolla. I'd probably use those three kind of to help filter out these, emotions, these thoughts, anything that's being thrown my way, and also to bring about clear communication. I'd probably use those three uh, for that. But again, I like your technique. That shit ain't mine, or not my shit. I like that. I mean, to me, if you feel something that's not yours, that's not my shit. It works, obviously.
Yeah, it helps me.
Oh God. Let's see. Another thing that you talked about in our group was, oh, people are gonna get pissed off. I don't fucking care. If you're new, even if you're not new, do your fucking research.
Mm.
Like, I understand wanting to ask questions, and that's cool, but we can tell. Anyone can really tell when you're lazy as hell. When you're just lazy and you don't want to do anything. You don't want to Google. You don't want to go to the library. You don't want to phone a friend. You want to go into you want to go into a group and you want to ask a simple question, like very simple, something that you could have gotten an answer to by just doing a simple search.
Mm-hmm.
You really need to start doing some work for yourself. Do the research.
Yeah.
If after you've done the research, just say, hey, I've done a little research. Can you guys give your input? Can you, is this right? That's different. At least you're putting in the work to do something instead of saying, hey, please help me with this. Hey, please help me with this. What's this? Fuck off.
The question that always gets me is when people ask, well, what is voodoo? Okay, if you look it up, it will tell you what voodoo is, and they get all pissy and they say, oh, I want to talk to somebody who practices. Voodoo, if you looked it up, you would find out that it's an initiatory religion, and nobody would fucking tell you about it anyway. So I don't think you're going to get any more information on certain things. If you want to know what hoodoo is, go to luckymojo.com. Just look it up. There are some things that are so simple. I mentioned something to somebody recently, and I can't remember what it was. And they're like, oh, well, I don't know how to do that. Okay, look it up. Oh, I didn't think about that. Why not? If you have the time to type in and ask a question, you have the time to type in and ask the question to Google. And then if you don't understand it, then you ask your questions. Because that's something that I've always done.
Yeah, and I don't understand people who say they don't have time. Like, bullshit, you have time. You have time. You're texting on your fucking phone. You have Google on your phone. Unless you're like ancient and you have an ancient phone.
Mm-hmm.
You have Google. Type it in. Do a little research while you're texting someone else. I don't care.
Yeah.
Type it in. Do something. Don't tell me you don't have time.
If you have the time to wait for a response on Facebook, you have the time to put it into Google and read an article about it.
Right. It's like, do you cook dinner? Okay, you cook dinner. That shit has to cook. So you have time while you're cooking dinner to do a little research. Your kids need a nap. Your kids are napping. So while they're napping, if you're not sleeping too, do some research. Mm-hmm. If you take a fucking hour shower, take a half-hour shower, take 30 minutes of that, do some research. I'm like, seriously, you can always find time. I'm a busy-ass person, and I always have time to do what I find necessary. If it's important to me, I will make the time, and that is something that I think newbies need to realize, and not just newbies, really, it's for everyone. If it's something important to you, then you are going to make that time to do the research, to do the practice. And if you don't, then you don't deserve to get the results.
No, I mean, like, even today, right? I mean, I got 5 hours of sleep. And why did I get 5 hours of sleep? Because I had to wake up early to do the show. And it's not something that I have to do, but it's something that I want to do. And it's fun. And I'm going to make the sacrifices to get it done. And what was it, yesterday? The other, I don't know. I've run so many errands this week. I've been tired all week. But you have to. That's a part of being, working a night shift, is you have to cut into your sleeping hours to get all your stuff done. But it's something that I've been doing. It's something that I'm used to. Bring your books to work. Read your stuff at work, and if you don't want people to see what you're reading, then get it on in a digital format if you can, so people don't know that what you're reading on your Kindle. I prefer reference books in hardcover. Yeah. Find a corner, sit in your car. I don't know. I mean, you can always sit in the bathroom. I don't know. You can always find a place to read. And if people are distracting you from learning, maybe you need to not be around those people and you need to do your work.
Absolutely. It's basic common sense. It's just common sense. That's all it is. Another thing someone asked basically was, how do you discern all this information, like different aura colors? People telling you like all these aura colors mean different things. How do you know who to trust? Like candle colors, aura colors, colors of shit, I don't know.
Okay, colors, candle colors, it varies by tradition. And as you're working with the candle, you need to fucking charge the candle for what you want anyways. So, if blue is for healing, and I can't remember all the stuff. The blue to me is healing. If blue is healing and 5 other things, you need to charge that candle for what you want it to do. I don't see auras. From what I've heard from people who do see auras, is they do see the colors differently, and that's one of those things where you need to be in tune with yourself and not necessarily go on what the internet says with something like that or books. You need to be in tune with yourself and know that the person that you're reading, because your aura may be yellow, which means whatever, and then somebody else might say, no, it's green, which means the same thing. So to them, they associate green with whatever. Like I said, I don't read auras, so but that's just what I've heard from people who actually do.
Yeah, absolutely. This is where a lot of your stuff is personal, like witchcraft. It's personal. I mean, there are some things that it means this for obvious reasons, but you also have to learn how that affects you. So, like, red to me might not be the same as red to you. And so we wouldn't use red for the same thing unless we could find a common understanding of why it's being worked. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say that these authors or these people are contradicting each other. They're just using information that works for them, that they have understood. I think it would be more beneficial if these people said, this is why I associate this with this color. Even if it was just a direct download from Spirit or whatever, if they explained why, we wouldn't have a lot of this misunderstanding or the frustration.
People realize that people who write books and write articles, that's their opinion, that's their personal interpretation, and a lot of people write it as fact, and people read it as fact, which I can see how it would confuse people. That is one of those things that you really need to figure out for yourself. Which,
yeah, I've never really. I mean, it's a book. It's an author. Someone has their own opinions, their own thoughts. So I've never understood why people think that was the way. You know, like with the book that we're writing, it's our opinions, our practice, our experience, our perception. I would never ask anyone to take it for law, even though you'd be awesome if you did. No, but seriously, everyone who writes from their own filter. So you can't take what someone says as law. Always question it. even what we say. Question what we say. Find out why you don't believe something, why you do believe something, but always question. That is so important for someone starting out. You need to always question.
Oh, yes.
And, I mean, don't be an asshole and just question everything because you do. Some people do, and it's so fucking annoying. Don't do that. But if you seriously don't understand something, or if you seriously disagree with something, then definitely challenge it. Back it up. Ask a question. Question it. Don't follow it because someone you trust or someone that you look up to says it. There are plenty of times where people I trust, people I look up to say something, and I question it. Just because they say it doesn't mean that I'm going to follow and believe it. I will respect it, and I will understand where they have come to that, but it might not resonate with me, so I will have to either question them and figure out how it fits with me. And in the end, I make up my mind, make the decision to either use it or lose it. Uh-huh.
And there's some people that are, I just call them the internet witches, and they don't do anything but look stuff on the internet. I know I'm kind of contradicting myself because I said look up everything on the internet, but there comes a point where you need to actually practice, and you need to not rely so much on the internet. You know, people ask you a question about something, and the first thing you do is find some pre-written spell. No. And then there's so many things that you can do, and I think that comes with actual practice and getting to know people who actually can, I'm going to say educate you, but just through conversation. Conversation, you learn a lot through conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. Our lovely Chris Gray asked, how can one both be a witch and be afraid of their own shadow? Yes.
I was gonna say something, and I'm not gonna say it.
Uh-oh.
Because no, I'm not doing it. How can a witch be a witch and be afraid of their own shadow? Oh God, is that what we call the flickins?
The flickins. Okay. It's like trying not. You know, we're really trying not to be offensive today, and obviously it's all because there's silence. There's so much silence. Like, how do I say this without being a prick? Oh.
But at the same time, if you are so sensitive where you can't handle people that are outspoken, then this is not the path for you either, because you're going to run into a lot of bullshit within the community and out of the community too. So I wanted to say that too. So how can you be afraid of your own shadow? They're not witches. It's
really hard because if they're not working through it, because there's a lot of times where people fear. They have other beliefs and they get scared and they fear. But the difference between a witch and a non-witch, in my opinion, y'all can get pissed off, you yell, whatever, I don't care, is that a witch will understand that fear, will progress, will grow from it. They will learn to not be scared of that, because as a witch, we deal with some scary ass shit. We deal with deep, like dark, just scary stuff, you know? And so we have to be on top of it. We can't allow fear to rule us. We have to ride fear and ride again. But really, at the end of the day, a witch can't be a pussy.
No, definitely not. And things happen to our gods test us, and they throw shit in our faces. If we can't handle something, they'll make it harder, and they will force us to work through it. That has happened to me. I think it may depend on the one that you work with. The one that was I love Hecate so much, but she can throw some shit at you, really, and it makes you into a stronger person and a stronger witch. Definitely, I do believe that your gods challenge you.
Hecate is a bitch.
I wasn't gonna say that.
I said it, and I own it, and she knows it because she is. And obviously, she produces bitches too. Look at that.
Very true.
You know,
That's very true.
I think everyone that I know, that most people that I know that work with her, who truly work with her, are assholes.
Because they
Um,
don't take any shit.
this girl's trying to get me in trouble. Cynthia Elliott, say it the way you would in the group. No, not today. Trying to get me in trouble. No, um, yeah, honestly, if you're so scared of things that you can't work through it, the craft really should not be practiced. You
No, you need
really
to
should.
force yourself.
It's hard sometimes because there are things I've had to go through that I'm like, I don't want to touch this. I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to. And then, Hecate is like, asshole, you're going to deal with this shit now. And she throws shit in front of you, it's crazy because you're like, I don't want to deal with it. Don't make me. And it's like she throws it and she puts like a magnifying glass on it and she's like, fucking deal with it. And you have to. It's a witch has to be strong. We are strong. We have been through so much shit, as a whole. Not just me today, but just our history. We are born out of this. I don't know. We're just born out of this strong survival. We survive. We thrive because we can. But we have to survive. And in order for us to survive, we have to do shit that isn't always going to be peachy. That's not.
No, you have to
going
manipulate. You have to learn how to manipulate your everything.
Yeah.
And that kind of comes in with the free will discussion. I just read this, and I kind of want to throw this out there though. This person is in the question. It drives me nuts when somebody tells a newbie, you must do this or you aren't doing it in such and such way. It is wrong. I don't believe in many rules. I do have a few. My one big rule is don't put two deities on the same altar. Each deity needs their own space. I think that's more of a respect thing. This is so hard because I do believe in doing what is right for you and doing your intuition, but then there are some things that are just obviously so wrong and so dangerous, like binding. Everybody runs to binding. Like those are some of the things that you just like cringe, and misinformation. I think as a new person, a new practitioner, you really need to take the information that you're giving and then do some more research on it or ask multiple people and see, because different people have different interpretations of different things and you can get a different insight on it. This is one of those things where I'm kind of like in the middle on, because I believe in following your intuition and doing what is right for you, but then there are some things that some people do that are just so dangerous. I don't really have any examples except for the binding thing because it's come up so much like this whole month.
It has. Crazy.
It's ridiculous and it's so dangerous, and you can watch our last video on malediction when we talk about that. Yeah, but you should not be telling somebody else how to practice. You should say the way that you approach people is very important. And I would say, okay, well, this is how I would do it, or this is dangerous because of this, or no, I would do it a different way. But don't say something, oh, you can't do that, because, yeah, I can do whatever the hell I want. You know what I mean? I could do whatever I want. So, and then when you tell somebody they can't do something, they're going to do it even harder, and
obviously.
Trouble. They can get into a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I've noticed that, like, a lot of people new to the craft, they come because they want to bind something, and they really don't. And again, look at the or watch the Malediction show for more on binding. Or they want someone to love them. They want love work, and love work really pisses me off. Like, people piss me off when it comes to love spells. I'm not going to tell someone not to make someone love. You can't really. I think you can influence. But you shouldn't jump on their case. First, ask a few questions, get to know what they want. Maybe they don't really want a love spell for a specific person. If they do, that's on them. If they fuck themselves up, that's on them.
Yeah.
But people have just this negative association with love work, and it's dumb.
And also, when people are desperate, one of the things I would consider desperate is your man or your woman left you, and you have children, and they're doing whatever they're doing, and you just want them back. You need to really, what I always say is, take a step back and figure out why you want them back, and are you willing to do the work, and are you willing to continue to do the work for the rest of your life? Because
Right.
somebody who doesn't want to be with you for whatever reason doesn't want to be with you. And yes, you can do it. You can make somebody be with you, but you have to feed that spell forever. And to me, it's not worth it.
Yeah, and that's my personal belief. Like, if someone doesn't want to be with me, then fuck them. I don't want them. That's my personal belief. And
Yeah.
I've run into someone who this person abused them. This person really did a number on their children together. And this bitch wanted this person back in their lives. And I don't understand that. Like, if this person is threatening your life and your child's life, what is that telling your child?
Yeah.
I can't understand, and I can't agree with that. And I will tell them that I don't agree with this, that I won't support this. I will tell them that I don't feel this is right, but it is their decision to
Yeah.
do whatever they choose to do.
It is. You can only say, this is what I would do in that situation. Something like that, you can't change somebody's behavior. You'd have to just dominate the hell out of them, which, again, takes a lot of work and would be very draining. And do you want to do that for the rest of your life?
Yeah, I'm like,
It's,
do you want to be on top
it's
all
not
the
worth
time?
it.
No,
Some
no.
people do.
Well, the variety of life, you know.
Yeah.
Switch it up sometimes. Oh my god. Okay, we're kind of going all over the place, but it's okay. Someone basically said meditation. How do you focus on nothing?
You know, meditation is like my weakest point. There are different kinds of meditations. I do best with guided meditations. For me personally, focus on nothing is like with the Zen meditation. Practice, do it every day. Start out with a minute, go to 2 minutes. I don't know. The meditation's more your thing.
Okay, I think a lot of people have a challenge when it comes to meditation because, again, they think they have to be blank, like dumbfounded. And you know, some people out there, I know who you are. You're really good at that, and you're not even meditating. But you don't you don't have to be blank when meditating. You don't have to like just close your eyes and like nothing. It doesn't have to be nothing. There doesn't have to be like blank space. There could be noise. Just let it flow through you. Like when I was like my sister and my niece were living with us, there was noise all over the place, you know. And I could meditate during that, and all I do was just, you know, ground, center, just focus, turn myself inwards, do whatever I do. When a thought would come in, I would see that thought, I would allow it to go. I don't focus on it. If I heard a noise, I would allow that noise to enhance my experience. I would let it flow through me. You know, I wouldn't just let it stop me because I'm stubborn like that. I'm not going to let shit stop me. But yeah, when you're meditating, don't think that you have to just be a zombie, like in a coma. Just, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be that way. Allow these things to flow through your experience, acknowledge them, and let them go. The more you do this, the stronger you'll be in actually being able to meditate in a crowded place. I can meditate at work and have all these bitches come to the door. It's fine. It doesn't bother me. Once you start experiencing that feeling when you meditate, you get that specific feeling. You can use that to pull you deeper. You know, focus on that. Focus on that emotion, that feeling, and let that pull you to your meditation. Let that be your like anchor.
And you can meditate in the shower too. That's another thing. You can do a lot of your work in Shower. You can meditate while you're sitting on the
Yeah.
toilet. I mean,
You
because
love the
people say
bathroom.
I don't have time. No, that's the only time I have privacy. Um, you won't understand until you have kids that you don't get privacy at all. Um,
I understand. I had kids living with me.
it's just, oh my god, they always have to use. Okay, um,
The bathroom is a
meditation.
sacred space.
Meditation is my weak point, and I do need to work on doing it. But there are different forms of meditation, like I said. Look into different forms. Also, if you're meditating for a specific purpose, like you're trying to connect with something or
Oh yeah.
somebody or a spirit guide or an animal guide, you have to say so. They're not just going to come to you because you're floating in the ether. You have to actually look for them because they're not going to know that you want to talk to them
They're
unless you got
floating.
to knock on the door. You got to knock on the door. Or, I mean, meditation is how I found my spirit animal and my goddess. Even though she'd been knocking on my door, that was kind of the confirmation for me. She threw me a bunch of signs. That was the clinker. I stopped at the aliens. Okay.
Well, you said
Um,
floating, so.
um, quickly too, the spirit animals, totem animal, you're not any less of a witch if you don't know what yours are. I do feel that animals have messages for us, and I do feel that everybody has a spirit animal and has that kind of like protector and teacher in that form. I do think they are part of our guides because we don't just have one guide, we have many, even if you don't know it. And but if you don't know what yours is, it's okay. It doesn't make you any less of a witch, and they can also come and go. um, I've had more so in times where I've needed to really just buck up and be a bitch. I've had big cats. I had a tiger for about a week and a panther for like a day. They come and go. The tiger was mean too, man. He scared the crap out of me. I was meditating and he just like jumped in my face and oh my god.
So
I can't
obviously,
even. Oh, sometimes they come unannounced, but for the most part, the meditation was to speak to my animal guide, and this tiger was in my face. So, you need to open that door. They're not just gonna come looking for you because they don't know you're ready unless you say, "Hey, I'm ready."
absolutely, and then you have to program. You can't just think I'm gonna go do some kumbaya and and some deity is gonna come pop in like, hey, bitch, how's it going?
Plus,
Unless you,
if you're trying to focus on nothing, how do you see something?
yes, and nothing is actually something.
Oh, okay, no.
um, yeah, so don't try and focus on nothing. Just focus on the experience. And again, like I said, you have to program it. You can't think that
Mhm.
you're gonna just go into some meditative state and all these things are gonna pop in and say hi. You didn't call them. That would like me.
Yeah.
That'd like be me standing right here, just doing this and meditating and expecting like my grandma who lives in the hills to show up. And it's just not gonna happen. I don't. Yeah. There's so much shit we could talk about, and we're like running out of time.
Yeah.
Um, if anyone has like a specific question, I know you have a lot. Throw it out there so I can see it. There's so much going on over here.
Because there's so much that is basic that people don't do or know about or are misinformed, and it's really difficult.
I guess my big thing on, I guess for basic like witchery is spirit communication. Like not just talking to dead Aunt Sally, but talking with the spirits of everything that you work with, getting a feel for the energies. That to me is very important. That you can't be a witch without that. Oh God, I said that, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. I think you severely, severely limit yourself. Well, we could separate the difference between paganism and witchcraft, because we combine the two of them. Paganism, to me, is like the religious aspect, where you have your Sabbaths and you have your deity, and that's what you do, and your prayer and whatever else. And witchcraft is your magic. To me, they go hand in hand. The witchcraft enhances your spirituality, and then the connection with deity enhances your witchcraft. So to me, that they go hand in hand. So that's why the keeping that connection with your spirits and your deity and the plants, have you grow your own herbs or the ones that you have in your cabinet, is just very, very important, and people don't really realize that sometimes.
No, and there are people who don't work with deities, and that's cool. That's fine. You don't have to. It's not necessary. Um, but don't look down on people who do. Just because someone believes in deity or they have that connection, they have a connection with spirit, does not mean that they're crazy. Well, not always. Sometimes, happens. Uh, but there's so many different options. You don't have to work with deity. You work with spirits. You don't work with spirits. You should work with spirits anyways. I don't care.
Yeah.
I think you can't really separate the spirit from witchcraft. I don't know how one would practice witchcraft without the spirit connection. If you do, that has to be really boring. Like very very monotone. Like to me, there'd be something missing. Like if you don't have that spirit connection, if you don't connect with the energies and all these things, there's something missing. That craft is lacking something, because that is so ingrained into the craft. Even if people work with Jesus and the Christian God, witchcraft, there's still the spirit connection.
Oh yeah. Even more so, I think, with conjure, you have the saints and the spirits, and you working with with Jesus and the Christian God. You definitely, it is all spirit work. I think people connect more with the spirit of things than they think.
Yeah.
And you have to, especially with things like when you're working with your herbs and your oils and such, when you're doing your magic, how else are you going to tell it to do what you want it to do? I mean, even if you don't program it the way that you're supposed to, when you're saying your words and you're saying your spell, you're still telling it what to do. It is going to be, it would be a lot more beneficial and stronger if you program each herb to do exactly what you want it to do. But how is it going to know if you don't tell it what to do? That's why I don't understand that people don't grasp that concept.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like a person that's bipolar. They have these two aspects of nice, gonna kill you.
If you don't program the herb, it could kill you when you wanted to do something else.
Right, and you need to make sure that you work with either the nice one or the one who's so angry you want to set them on some victim. You gotta make sure that you're associating and you're aligning with the right aspect of everything. And you don't have. Someone asked if you have to cast spells in Latin. No, you don't.
I'm sorry.
This is why we get in trouble. You laugh. It's you. You don't. You don't have to cast in a different language. If you speak a specific language, you don't understand English that well, then of course use that language. But it's not necessary.
I think you need to understand what you're doing. Your words is the energy that you're putting out there, and if you don't understand what you're saying, listen, I'm laughing because I can't pronounce shit. Okay, even stuff that's in English, I can't pronounce it half the time. I think it's because I read so fast, I kind of like jumble up the letters. So that's kind of why I'm laughing. I would never ever say anything in Latin because I would just botch it up. And if I don't know exactly what it says, why am I going to say it? It could be something completely different from what my intention is. And spells do not have to rhyme I have never in
Oh
my
God,
life written a
no.
spell that has rhymed because I am not a poet. I am a witch, and I think when you try very hard to rhyme, you have to change your words to fit the
Hmm.
rhyme, and it may not be what you're trying to do, so it doesn't make any sense.
Well, shit, I'm a poet and I don't rhyme. Half the like more than half the time I do not rhyme. Like fuck that. I can't. I I express from the heart, from the soul. I don't try and focus up here and okay, how am I gonna rhyme this? How am I gonna change this? No. If it rhymes, that's awesome, good, whatever. But it's not necessary. And it's just not. Don't rhyme
I
unless
mean,
you
I
want
do
to.
I do a lot of I'll do a petition paper. I do a lot of candle work, so I'll do a petition paper with a candle, and everything is charged for what I need it to be. And as I'm actually speaking my words, I usually just make something up. And I'm not saying like I make up something crazy, but I usually I come up with I just speak from the heart or come up with some kind of a chant and don't even realize it. It just kind of happens. I don't. There's a lot of stuff that I don't. I can't sit down and just like I get writer's block if I try to sit down and write a
Yeah.
spell, it doesn't come. So I have to do it a lot of the times in the moment. And I feel, for me personally, if I read a spell off a piece of paper, it feels very robotic because I
Yeah.
just read it off the paper, and I don't like that. That's just something that does not work for me.
Yeah, it's hard. I've done it before when I'm doing like intense and I can't remember all the steps. I don't like how it feels. I like the raw and primal energy when you're in tune and you're just going with the flow.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know why when you said I don't know. I just kept thinking, "Ding dong, the witch is dead. The witch is dead." I don't even. I can't get that out of my head. Um, anyways, we have to close very very soon. So let's talk about some books that have helped us.
Okay.
So someone asked like, what are some books, that we suggest for newbies, and I will say it again, newbies.
I always suggest Christopher Penzak's Inner Temple of Witchcraft. Um, I'm so bad with books. You
um,
go. Go ahead.
okay, Judica Isles. I don't. I hope I said her last name. If not, right. If not, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Sorry. She has an amazing. I like all her books. Her encyclopedia of like 5,000 spells is fucking awesome, and every witch should have it. You should have it. You don't have it, you need to buy it. You don't buy it, you're stupid.
There's that word again.
Oh, it's me now, huh? Seriously, go freaking get cans out of the dumpster and save some money and get the book. It's a really awesome book. It has so many different spells, formulas, so many different things, and it's a requirement. It really is. Another one I like is A Deed Without a Name by Lee Morgan. Yeah, Lee Morgan.
Mhm.
Or Morgan Lee. No, I think it's Lee Morgan. But that book you have to read. If you're new, even if you're not new, it's an amazing read. And I think if you read it, a lot of people who are opposed to being born a witch, you'll understand what it means by reading the book. It, it's awesome. I like a lot of Robin Artisan's work. A lot of people, I guess, have issues with him. I don't really care. I don't know these people. I don't know anyone really. I just like his work. Robin Artisan has some really awesome traditional witch books. I'm trying to think. I'm looking at my list over here. There's
Yeah,
just
that You Are Psychic book is Deborah Lynn Katz. I believe you did say that. That is a
yes.
very good one. Um,
Um,
Spirit Allies by Christopher Penzak. Spirit Allies was good. I didn't finish it. I'm so bad, but it helps you talk about the different guides and spirits you can connect with and how to do so. Christian Days, The Witch's Book of the Dead,
that shit's awesome.
is very good. The only thing that bothered me with that is the salt. He talks about using salt with the dead, and sometimes salt
Yeah.
dispels the dead. So you kind of have to. Some of those things you have to figure out on your own. Utterly Wicked by Dorothy Morrison. I'm looking through my list.
Perfect.
Now, when I was told Michael a long time ago I had problems with spirits and being freaked out and stuff, he had recommended We Are Their Heaven by Alison Du Bois, and it's a very it talks about her being a medium and how she dealt with, I believe she was helping cross people over and give messages and stuff like that, and it's a very down-to-earth book. It helps you understand that bit a lot better.
Right. Mastering Witchcraft, Paul Hudson, whatever. Mastering Witchcraft, very good book. You know, obviously you have to weed some things out. It's cool though. It's a good book to read and to understand. The Visions of Isabel Gowdy, that's, yes, that is a requirement. That's awesome. Let's see. You said Utterly Wicked. That's a really good one. Let's see. I don't know. There's just so many books. In my group, I even have it posted a lot of places. I have this huge ass list of books that are awesome. You should check it out. Go to the group, go to whatever group, look in the file section, and hopefully I have it posted.
Because a lot of it depends on your personal belief system too. I mean, I'm scrolling through my list. Most of the stuff I have is nonfiction on my Kindle, but there are books if you want to work specifically with Hecate. There are books if you want to work specifically with the Morgan, and I'm sure there's other goddesses as well. Those are just the ones that I have. And those are the questions you want to ask. Does anybody have a good, solid book on a deity or a website or something that's a little bit more personal?
Aiden?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
Shit. I'm gonna get shit for this. I love how Silver Ravenwolf writes. Her style is fun. I don't agree with everything she writes, but I like the way she expresses it. It's funny, it's fun. So if you can weed out some of the bullshit, then try her. Scott Cunningham, it's all Wicca shit too, and I try not to recommend a lot of that because I try to, not. Scott Cunningham, again, whatever. He bores me to death, but his herb book and his crystal book, okay. I prefer his herb book over anything, and his, Incense, Oils, and Brews.
Yeah, I have that one.
That book's pretty good.
I have Wicca for Beginners by Thea Savin. I know you read that one too because I love it too. The only thing you had a problem with is when these people say, "Oh, witches don't do bad stuff" or "don't." That depends on your personal belief. That's a really big thing. There's also the Wiccan year helps with the different Sabbats and giving you ideas on how to celebrate them. I like that one too. And for kids too, there's kids books too. If you want to know a list of kids books that I have used, then let me know.
You should be posting that in the group. Hello, post it.
What, the kids books? Okay.
Yeah. There's just so many different books that are awesome, and I like a lot of older books, stuff that hasn't been published, or even stuff that's published by like a small company. I love that stuff because they usually express how I want to practice or what I want to know. A lot of mass-produced stuff is watered down, I feel, and it speaks to me a little bit, and I can benefit from it, but it doesn't speak to the full witch that I choose to be. I think that we're gonna have to do just do a beginner series.
Well, yeah, let's we'll talk about that because again, a lot of this stuff is going to be in the book that we're writing.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll work on that. I don't know what we're talking about next week.
I don't know. If you all have something, if you
haven't figured it out yet.
If you have an idea, if you want us to talk about something, please comment on our YouTube, on this video, comment on that video, and tell us what you want to hear from us, because we'll talk about it. Maybe, if we like it. If it's bullshit, then we won't talk about it. It's easy as that. But we have to get going. Don't forget about our YouTube contest. Like our YouTube channel. Interact with us. We get 500 subscribers. You get an amazing custom poppet by Mrs. Audley.
We have the group.
Our
group is awesome.
Amazing.
I love our group. There's been very, very little problems in that group. I love it.
Yeah, because we'll boot your ass if you cause problems.
Yes. Pretty quickly, too.
Yeah, no, seriously though, thank you for watching. This has been awesome. This has been fun. Really, I like talking about, new stuff, and hopefully you guys benefited from it, So don't tell me ever again that I can't talk to newbies.
On that note.
On that note, bye, bitches.
Bye.